Hi guys, we're back for the second episode, and for this week's edition, I have Rohit with me. Rohit is the founder of Barely Opinionated, and from what I read, and from whatever I've been going through, Rohit, you are simplifying education for Gen Z, and
Right.
particularly on all these social platforms. So, can you just explain? I mean, first of all, welcome.
Thank you.
And
Thank you so much for
we've,
having me.
yeah, we've been speaking for so long,
Yeah.
prior to this, so I just forgot to welcome you. But welcome to this podcast. And would you mind explaining it to the audience what is barely opinionated exactly?
Right. So, the idea of barely opinionated is to break down. So, as of now, we are breaking down complicated political, social, business affairs that's happening in the country that the young generation needs to know about,
Right.
and we are using social media to sort of break it down into simple form. Right.
Okay.
Our main thing is that newspapers focus on headlines,
Right.
but we want to go into the depth of why something is happening, what will be the consequences of it, right?
All right.
And that's what we are doing through social media now. Right now, we have two pages. One is barely opinionated, one is called Money Matters Community.
Okay.
We want to create similar communities across different niches. So tech will be one, Web3 will be one,
Alright.
sports will be one. Similarly, other niches as well.
All right. All right. So I'll jump straight up into it.
Hmm.
When did you start?
Hmm.
When did you start this?
So there's a pandemic, maybe October 2020 we started.
October 2020.
Yes.
Awesome. And just wanted to understand what motivated you. Like, could you give your a brief background about yourself, what you've
Right.
done so far, and what led to you starting this?
Right. So I graduated out of college in 2019.
Okay.
And I worked in two different places after that.
Okay.
But then, like, I was working at a place where during the pandemic. When the pandemic hit, that was my second job where I was at. And my intention was to do something on my own.
So this job is particularly, was it in the media field?
No, it was in the marketing side of it, but
Okay.
not particularly in the media field. So I'm a marketing major.
Okay.
I've always been into marketing. So my first job was into sales, second job was into marketing.
Okay.
But then as the pandemic hit, that's when the whole idea of content creation became really big, right?
Right,
Content
right. It
creation,
did.
content curation.
People were creating content all
Exactly,
over. Right.
exactly.
Right.
I wanted to get into content creation,
All right.
but I wasn't a good dancer. I wasn't a good singer.
Right.
I didn't have any of that talent.
Right.
But I realized that one talent that I had was of gaining a lot of like knowledge, or being too much into what's happening in the country, or what's happening in the political world, because I was heavily into debating MUNs during my college life,
Okay.
right? So I thought, how can I combine that and this two sides of it and bring them together?
Okay.
That's where Barely Opinionated was born.
And
So the idea is basically to share facts with
Right.
people and to help them form their own opinions, and then come together to have discussions and understand different perspectives.
Okay, great. So when you say, for people to come together, what is the TG that you had in mind when you started out? Was it just Gen Z, or was it like everybody just open? Like,
No, my main focus was Gen. So I started on Instagram. My Instagram was my primary platform,
okay.
keeping in mind that I want to target the Gen Z and like the younger
Right,
millennials,
right.
right? And the English speaking audience at this point.
Right. I'm going to come to this later, because I have seen that you're present across platforms.
Right.
So I wanted to come and discuss that, how you moved from one platform to another.
Right.
But you're saying you started on Instagram.
Right.
Right. And you started creating videos, is what you started doing
No,
out there?
we started creating. So Instagram has a feature of creating carousels, like PPTs.
Right.
So we started with that.
Okay.
Video is something that we transitioned into. Like I sort of messed around with it like a year ago,
Okay.
because that's when reels had come up and it was like booming.
Right.
But then I didn't really like making reels because I wasn't comfortable in front of the camera.
Right.
The audio quality was, I didn't have the capacity or the production levels to
Right.
make it look good. So I was like, not working for me. So I stopped that. But only 6 months ago, around January, February, is when I heavily started getting into video as well.
Start getting to video. Okay, I'm going to come back to this later, but
Right.
first I want to understand. So, October 2020, you realized that you want to create content, and you realize that this is your niche where you're good at.
Correct.
You realize that there's probably a need for this in the
Correct.
market, and you launched on Instagram.
Yes.
Right. Tell me, how did you grow? Like, where were your first subscribers from? How did that entire thing work out from zero? I think you've got 125 or 1 million.
105K actually.
105K.
Yes.
Right. 105, 125. I was getting confused. So you have 105K followers on Instagram.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
So in the beginning, of course, it's family and friends
Right,
that are sort of supporting, right?
right, right.
And like, so in terms
Tell
of
you what, I'm gonna break you. Do family and friends really support?
in my case, I got a lot of support from them. I
Awesome,
have to
awesome.
say that.
Because there's often a common complaint in the wherever if somebody's starting out something new, be it a product or be it some content business, the idea is that family and friends will just share a thumbs up and not do much about it later on, right? But
Yeah,
anyways, coming back, so
yeah.
you were saying, huh?
So yeah, I was saying that family and friends were the initial, but our growth was really about cracking the algorithm on Instagram.
Okay,
It took us 8 months. So
okay,
from October to June,
all right,
June is when we hit 5K followers. Last
okay,
year, June,
okay,
right? June to September, we hit 20K followers.
okay.
Um,
What changed? How did you crack that
so
algorithm?
that was the consistency part of it, right? So
Okay,
when we started, I was still sort of learning the content side of it. I was still learning platform content creation, Instagram,
okay,
and throughout that time, I was just um, grasping as much as possible what will work, what will not, and we were sort of experimenting and stuff.
right.
One mistake we made in the beginning was that we were uploading during the weekdays, and then weekends we were taking a break because
Okay,
we were like, okay, let's chill and then start
okay,
up.
okay,
But then we realized ki, okay, if we start posting every day,
okay.
there'll be more growth, right?
So for you,
Instagram
consistency meant
consistency is always the key.
daily,
Exactly,
right?
daily.
Okay,
From daily, we were doing till June, right?
okay,
Then we slowly moved into 3 pieces of content a day on Instagram.
okay,
Okay,
awesome.
and now we are
Three pieces of content per day.
per day.
Okay.
So per day, 3 pieces of content has been going out from June till even right now, every single day. So
And
not
how
even
many of them are videos and carousels, and what is it that you're
so
working
this
out on?
switch happens before, like June when we started, it was three carousels.
Right.
But then in the beginning of June when I started doing video, now it's two carousels, one video.
Okay, so that's the thing that you maintain,
That's standard,
right?
yes.
And does it really make a difference when you're putting it out as a story or as a post or as a reel? Do you
Yes,
think?
it makes a lot of difference. It depends on what sort of content you're putting out as a
Okay,
carousel. The title page makes a lot of difference. The time of the upload makes a lot of difference. If I
right,
say I'm uploading at 6:30 consistently,
right,
right? If I say कि हाँ ठीक है थोड़ी देर बाद upload करता हूँ 7 साढ़े 7 तक upload करता हूँ,
right.
the algorithm will mess it up and the
Okay,
reach will
okay.
go down.
So you're saying consistency even in the time of upload.
Exactly. And it's not just with Instagram, it's with YouTube as well.
All right. So you need to upload it.
Yes,
That
YouTube,
consistency
LinkedIn,
is
that consistency is always needs to be
awesome, awesome. So you said that from 5K, then you jumped up till 20K,
there.
and all this is because of the algorithm.
Algorithm, it's all about the consistency that we were into.
Right,
And of course the content also plays an important role, right? how how
right,
how how much can people relate to the content,
right,
or how shareable is the content, or
right, right.
what value are they getting from it, right?
Right.
But again,
I'm gonna come to this content piece later, but I just want to understand from the 20,000 subscribers, you scale up to 105K
right,
subscribers, right? And it's been what, less than 2 years?
yeah, less than
About
two
to
years
reach
about
two
two
years
years
in a
yeah,
couple
yeah,
of
yeah,
months,
yeah.
right? So after that, did you do any paid or was it all
It's
organic?
all been organic.
You've never done
Never,
paid.
never. And this is something that I'm really proud of because I've seen a lot of creators, a lot of media houses
Right,
putting in a lot of money to sort of grow.
right.
But the catch to that also is that once you start feeding the algorithm the money, the algorithm wants more money. So once you stop putting in money, your reach goes down.
Okay, so the learning here is that you need to be like growing on these platforms without money as much as
As
possible.
much as possible. Of course, there'll be a point where say you come up with a product, you want to sell it, you need to do some performance
Right,
marketing,
right,
right?
right,
But
right. Right. So coming back to the content piece, you said that it really makes a difference if you're putting it out as a story and if you're putting it
yes,
out.
yes,
You also mentioned that content really makes a difference if
correct.
it's shareable and so forth, right? So can you tell me about your entire experience in terms of this content creation? Are you first of all, you're curating content, right? You probably just
Yes,
curate the best of
exactly.
content. And could you just explain through the process what according to you is the best content and how does it work out? How did you get to that this is what works?
It's I use myself as an example.
Okay.
What makes me curious, I believe that will make some of the other people curious as well.
Okay.
Of course, it's not going to be everyone,
Right.
but I know that if say for example, I don't know something,
Right.
I'm sure that a lot of other people also don't know about it.
Okay.
So a lot of times, what happens is, so right now we have a team of researchers. We
How
have
big is your team?
huh?
How big is your
We
team?
have about 15 people in the team.
Oh, that's awesome. And all these are full time.
No, all of them, most of them are part time. I
Okay.
have two or three full-time people, but more rest of them are all part-time.
Right. And
And
how's this team divided?
so we have about 7 to 8 to 9 researchers.
Okay.
Now these researchers are all the people. Now everyone that has been hired, except for maybe one or two, or has been brought into the team, are all through the page itself. They are the
Okay.
ones
That's
that are
awesome.
reaching out every day. Like we have so many people reaching out every day that we really like your content. We want to be a part of your community. Please,
All right.
let me do the research. Let me do the design, things like that, right?
That's awesome. They already know about how to go about it.
Exactly,
What
exactly.
exactly you're looking for. Great. So the content you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, when it comes to the topic, it's about what makes me curious. If I feel like something is really important for people to know, that's what I sort of pick and I get the researchers to work on
Okay, the researchers to work. Great. And coming down to this part about platforms,
it.
right? I saw that you were present across a lot of
Right.
platforms, right? You're on Instagram. You also started a newsletter.
Yes.
Then you've also come out with a Discord channel.
Right.
There's YouTube,
Yes.
right? Could you explain how this process has been and what like got you to start and focus on these new channels? And which one? I mean,
Yeah.
what has your learning been so far?
We are currently on Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, and newsletter.
Okay.
These are the four primary platforms
All
for
right.
us at
All
this
right.
point. Instagram, why I started with Instagram was because I felt like Instagram was the easiest platform to grow on at that point,
Right.
and because I wanted to, the whole idea was to make the scrolling experience of people better, right? Because you're scrolling, you're getting suggestions, you're looking at the same music playing, the same dance happening, and the different people doing the same thing,
Right.
right?
Right.
But then if there is some value addition in that scrolling, that's what I was looking at that.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's when we started with Instagram. Then our plan was always to move on to YouTube.
Okay.
Although we haven't been able to be consistent on YouTube because of the amount of bandwidth it requires to actually create content on YouTube.
Right. The
Right.
images and
The
everything.
the from the curation of the content to the production of the content to the editing of the content, we don't want to put out like mediocre quality
Right.
stuff at this
Right.
point.
Right. I
Right.
saw the latest is that Israel Palestine
That
video.
was that's actually a year old video.
Okay.
And yeah, and it's again, that was when we were learning and
All
experimenting,
right. Right.
right?
But I think you promoted by some
Yeah,
of your
because
links here.
some right now some issues happening around Israel
Right.
Palestine.
Right. Right.
So like, okay, it's a good time to sort of watch that. But
Right.
again, that video also, if I look back at it, it's really like shit. Like, it's the quality of it is really bad,
Okay.
right? But the content is good. That's why we sort of promoted it at that point,
Okay.
right?
Right.
But yeah, right now the one thing we are struggling with is how to bring up the quality and how to keep the production levels high.
This is on YouTube,
This is
right?
on
But
YouTube.
how have the newsletter and LinkedIn performed?
Now, newsletter, fortunately, I have one person who takes care of the newsletter who's brilliant, who's doing a brilliant job in terms of the content that needs to go out,
Right.
when it needs to go out and stuff like that.
Right.
So
Is it the same content that you're putting out on
no, it's
Instagram?
not.
It's completely different.
It's not completely different.
Okay.
Again, it's like so it's called roundup. The idea is to basically round up what's happening in the week.
Right.
Right,
Right.
interesting topics or things that they really need to know about. So
Right.
sometimes there is a small clash between what we are putting out on Instagram and what we are putting out on newsletter,
Right.
but then mostly it's different.
And how? So is it delivered like weekly, once in a week,
Once
or
in a week.
once in a week? Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. I've been following that for the past couple of weeks.
Right.
Right. And you round up what has happened so far, and then it links on to your
It links
website.
onto our Instagram. We don't have a website yet.
Okay.
It links onto our Instagram, YouTube.
Okay. Then I might have gotten confused a little bit. Oh, it comes down to your substack.com.
Yes.
Right, it comes there.
Correct.
Right, right, right. So tell me something. How long has this newsletter thing been
It's
going on?
going to be 6 months now.
Awesome. How has the response been so far?
Amazing. Response has been really good because we have so many people interacting with the pieces. And I was recently having a discussion. You had him on,
Sajal was there from the Boring News.
Yes.
Yep, yep.
Sajal is primarily into newsletters, and I've
Exactly.
learned a lot about newsletters from him as well.
Exactly.
So I was just talking to him about the open rates and stuff like that. So he was telling me that having a 25 to 30% open rate at this point in India is like really good. Average is 7.2%.
Right. How much is yours?
Ours crosses 25-30%.
And what is the number of subscribers that you have?
Right now we are at 1,000 subscribers.
Okay. I think you just started out.
We have just started out, and we are not heavily promoting it as well.
Right.
We want to also, because first of all, conversions from Instagram is not that great.
Okay.
And that is a hard lesson that I learned over time as I was creating
All
content.
right, all right.
That is one. And second, the sort of audience you're making on Instagram is not the same audience you want on your newsletter,
Okay.
because the attention span is different. The sort of content they consume is different,
Right,
right?
right, right, right.
Gen Z doesn't necessarily have open emails, right?
Makes sense.
Yeah.
They probably open emails, but probably they are more attuned to short stuff, consuming,
Exactly.
the short attention span that
Exactly.
is often being spoken
Exactly.
about.
Exactly.
Right. So you see that difference coming out in the
Difference coming out.
newsletters.
So we do promote new. Of course, newsletter is there in our things that
The
we do,
entire suite of products that
suite
you
of
have.
products that we have.
Right.
But we are also looking at how we can grow organically rather than just pushing it through Instagram.
All right.
Of course, Instagram has to be our primary platform. इतना मेहनत करके distribution बनाया है, तो वो तो use करना ही पड़ेगा.
Right, right, right. Makes sense, makes sense. How about LinkedIn? How has that performed? When did you
Now,
start it?
LinkedIn, there's a difference in how we approach LinkedIn.
Okay.
LinkedIn, we are not primarily focusing on barely opinionated.
Okay.
We are focusing on my personal brand and my co-founders.
Okay. Why is that? Can you explain why are you doing that?
Because when you're building a brand, you need to have a person that is connected to that brand.
Agree with you. Yeah.
My face has become barely opinionated at this point.
Right, right.
And that is what I want to sort of use my LinkedIn, my personal brand,
Okay.
to build barely opinionated as well. Because until people see the face, until people know the face behind the brand, they will not trust the brand,
Okay.
right? And that is again another thing that I learned over here.
Definitely, all the big personalities that are there in this particular education space, like a Dhruv Rathi,
Exactly.
it's all personal.
Exactly.
It's right.
Exactly. And for again, this is for anyone who's listening. Like, if they are, if you are, sort of getting into content creation, if you are trying to build a media brand, focus on, think about how you can approach it from a personal branding standpoint
Right.
rather than just building the brand,
Okay.
right? Because things can get really difficult in terms of the value that you're able to bring into whatever you're building.
So how are you going about building your personal brand out here? Is there any specific type of content that you
Yes,
prefer
it's about
targeting up?
it's about talking about the process of building value opinion, right?
Okay.
It's about
Okay.
talking. Primarily into content creation. I talk about content creation. I talk about my process of building barely opinionated,
Right. Right.
right? And that is what people really want to see when they are trying to say, link A to B, right? Which is the personal brand to the actual brand.
Right, that's awesome. Because I've seen that a lot of products, okay, physical products, they've really become successful because they used the process of production. They used to showcase.
Correct.
So if I'm not wrong, there was this juice company based out of China, right?
Mm.
And they used to showcase the entire process that, this is how the berries are grown,
Oh.
right? This is how we harvest them.
Hmm.
And it's literally happening in the villages
Right.
to the entire final packaging. And they
Okay.
blew up.
Wow.
Naturally, TikTok, it was
Yeah,
on
yeah,
TikTok, it
yeah.
appeared as a case study somewhere. But I'm seeing this happen a lot where people are kind of getting attached to that entire product because they know where it's coming from. So
Exactly.
I think it's in a way, it's very similar to what
Correct.
you're doing, right?
Correct.
You're building a brand out there.
Correct.
And so you know what? I understand this. 2020, you wanted to get into content creation. You came on, started with Instagram, kind of figured out the algorithm that kind of helped you grow,
Right.
and finally you're here right now where you have n number of products across 3-4
Right.
platforms. I want to understand what next.
Hmm.
You did mention and touch upon it where you said that you've already gotten into the finance part of it.
Right.
Money matters
Yes.
is what you have.
Yes.
Can you explain that, and then how does it fit into your future line of growth?
So the idea of Money Matters, again, similar to Barely Opinionated. On Money Matters, we focus on finance, economics, and crypto.
And where do you distribute this information?
It's on Instagram primarily.
On Instagram.
On
And do you
Instagram.
have a separate channel for it, or is it
It's
on
a separate page.
separate page?
Separate
Okay.
page altogether.
Okay.
Like it has its individual identity,
All right.
right? That's what we are focusing on.
All right.
The future of Barely Opinionated is to create similar distribution channels around different
Are you
niches.
spreading yourself too thin?
Not at this point. I feel like we have a lot more capability in what we can. We have a lot more capacity to what we can do. That's why I mean, I really want to get into the Web3 space, but we haven't gotten into it because I feel like once we do that, then we are stretching ourselves.
All right, all right. So right now, money matters. Can you? Is it very similar to all the personal finance platforms that are there, which kind of give advice out to you,
Right.
right? How do you see that? So you know what? I'll jump
Hmm.
straight away. So you want to basically build up
Correct.
different verticals
Correct.
in terms of content, right?
Yes.
You figured out money is the
Correct.
best way to go,
Exactly.
right? And so okay, revenue, the most important part, right? I'm assuming you've been bootstrapped. We just spoke about
Yes.
it,
Yes.
right? You've
Yes.
been bootstrapped,
Yes.
and
So before you go ahead, now bootstrapped also. So barely opinionated was started by me and a friend of mine. My friend, the guy who his name is Ryan. He was heavily into research and he was heavily into getting knowledge.
okay,
Right.
okay,
Um, he was the one who used to take care of research. I was the one who used to take care of the designs, the distribution, everything.
okay,
Right. The
okay.
team only came up last year around August, September.
All right.
Right.
So it was a two-man
It
team
was a
till like for a
two-man
very long
team
time.
for a long time, right?
Right.
Then the team came along. It was a slow process, but then what really is getting us going at this point is in October. There is this place called the Hub Bengaluru. Hub
Okay.
Bengaluru is basically started off as a co-working, co-living space. It's in the heart of Bangalore, Safina Plaza, which is one of
Okay.
the most iconic locations in Bangalore.
Okay.
And they got into media side of it during the pandemic itself.
All right.
So the founder, Azan Seth,
Right.
he really wanted to get into this content side of it, and they had a lot of they started this program called Entrepreneur in Residence.
All right.
We applied for it, we got selected.
Okay.
We were able to live in their co-living space, work out of their co-working space
All right.
for 3 months, and get to it was a knowledge transfer basically, right? We were
Does
learning
it does
from.
it happen? Do these programs really help in terms of
For
knowledge
me, it was
transfer?
helpful.
All right. You had
For
other founders there as well.
I'll tell you how. So no, now this so I was the first one, and at
Right.
this point I'm the only one who's been a part of it because they started it at a point where they did it was during the pandemic. So
Okay.
their co-living space was empty, their co-working space was empty.
Okay.
But now that the pandemic is sort of going away and people are coming back to work, they're in full capacity. So they don't have any more rooms left to sort of give it
Right.
out for free.
But so how did the learning happen out there?
I'll tell you. So it's basically he's curated this team of like expert designers, expert video editors,
Okay.
expert content people, right? That's where
Okay.
the learning happened. And it wasn't that we were learning from them,
Right.
they were also learning from us.
And just one second. This is a media specific entrepreneur.
Yes.
Okay.
And they
Great.
have like insane like I would love it if you can come to the office as well. They have insane like production
Awesome.
capacity, insane equipment.
Awesome. I would love to. Yeah.
Space is really good, right?
Right.
Now that's where Azan and I started talking, and he really liked the idea of Barely Opinionated, and he
Okay.
wanted to be a part of it.
Okay.
So we got him in as a partner at Barely.
Okay. So Azan is the guy who started that program out there.
Yes, he's the guy who's the owner of the Hub Bengaluru,
Okay.
and now he's a partner. He's my co-founder at Barely.
Barely opinionated. This is
Yes.
awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So
So officially that happened in January, around January, February,
right.
and since then that's what has been going. My friend who helped me started, he wanted to go for his masters, so he's moved on for his masters.
Okay.
So it's right now me and Azan and our extended team who's running the whole show.
All right. So this is how you see, going forward, different verticals. Right.
Exactly. And so yeah, right now it's Azan and me who are bootstrapping the whole company, and we are sort of running it.
Right. Great. So profitable or not?
Sort of, not to the level we want it to be,
Right.
but all the money is being reinvested to the business.
Where do you guys make money from?
Our money comes from, first of all, the brand deals that we do on our pages.
Okay.
Another thing that we realized was that the things that we have learned is not the things that people know. So
Can you explain that? Yeah.
the way content needs to be created. How do you really get into the minds of your audience?
Right.
How do you grow your page?
Right.
Those are the things that we are helping other brands also.
Oh, so you have two revenue models. One is the brand deals that you do,
Yes.
and the other is that you're helping brands create their own
Create
content.
their own content, help them strategize their social media platforms.
So do you execute it also for them, or
We
is it just
execute the
strategy?
content creation part of it at this point. We don't execute the social media management part of it.
Okay, awesome. So can you help me explain, or help the viewers explain, how does this brand deal work out, and what is it that what's the market like in today's times? If somebody has to open up an Instagram page, what he or she needs to look at, what are the CPMs, What are the advertisers looking for, and how does it work out? Do you guys reach out to them? Do they reach out to you? And how has the entire experience been?
First of all, if someone wants to start content creation, I wouldn't say they should start on Instagram.
Okay.
They should ideally start on like a YouTube or a Twitter or a LinkedIn.
Okay. I'm going to come back to this question later.
Correct.
Cool. Let's get
Second is in terms of understanding how the revenue model works, it's insane because there is no standard to say charging for influencers, because it's at such a nascent stage
right.
that people don't know what the good charges are. We are at 105K followers. If
Right.
for influencers at our level, some influencers at our level are charging an insane amount of say 1 lakh, 1.5 lakh for a single post or a reel,
All right.
right? On the other hand, there are influencers that are charging like say 1K, 2K for a reel or a post,
For a reel.
right?
Okay.
It depends on the niche that your content is in. It depends on what sort of engagement you have. It depends on what sort of community you have, or what sort of how strong is your community that you're sort of building. So there's a lot of moving parts in terms of how you
Okay.
can really
Okay.
charge,
Okay.
how you can
It's a function
understand.
of many different things
Exactly.
as to how much you can charge, right?
Exactly.
But do advertisers look for certain things, that these are
Yes.
the number of views and these are the
Yes.
number of,
Now,
yeah,
what major most of the brands look at is the conversions, right? But
right,
that's where they go wrong. And
right,
I've been preaching this forever, right?
right,
Um, when you are trying to promote with an influencer, you are not they are not performance marketers. There's a difference, right?
okay,
One is content creators, and influencers are essentially like, the best way to put it is like a billboard,
okay.
right? Billboard is to get your name out there for
It's for
people.
awareness.
Awareness. Exactly.
That's exactly
Not for
what.
conversion. If you
Right.
want conversion, you should be doing Facebook ads, Google ads,
All
right?
right.
Don't look for direct conversions from influencers. That's where most of the brands mistake. They will come and they'll be like, no, we want these many conversions. That's not something influencers will really promise, right?
Okay.
If any influencer is promising that, they're probably
There's something, yeah. But how many such deals do you do in a month?
again, it's very fragile.
Right.
There is no like consistent number of it. At an average, at this point, we are doing around 5 to 10 per month.
5 to 10 brand deals per month,
Per
and
month.
most of these deals would involve 2 or 3 posts and a couple of stories and so
Correct.
forth.
Again, that depends. Some of them come for one post. We usually recommend 3 pieces of content per
Within a
day.
month,
Yeah, yeah.
per day,
Per deal. I mean.
per deal.
Yeah.
All right, all right. And is it like inbound, or have you guys gone out and
It's
done pitching?
most of them have been inbound.
Inbound.
Yeah, they reach out to us through our emails or through our Instagram page. We are also working with influencer management companies.
Right.
So right now we are working with two different players in the space who are also helping us get brand deals. They take a certain cut off.
15-20%, I'm
15%.
assuming. Okay, that's awesome. And moving forward, so then you said that there's this other side where you kind of help brands create. Has that also been inbound?
Yes.
And how many such brands do you have at
We
the
have
moment?
worked with, like right now we are working with one brand. In the past we have worked with two other brands.
Two other brands.
Yes.
Okay. I want to come back to the thing that you mentioned, that where you were advising the new and upcoming content creators
Right.
to start with YouTube and not Instagram. Can you just help explain why?
See, it depends on the sort of content you're creating, right? If you really want to build a strong community or have a strong holding of your audience,
Right.
then YouTube, LinkedIn, or Twitter is the best platform for you,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
If you're a musician, like if you're a musician, if you're an artist, if you're a dancer, then Instagram makes sense for you. If
Okay.
you're into education, don't look at Instagram as your primary.
Right. I think you started at a time where you
Yes.
still kind of would do
Instagram
something about
was,
it.
I didn't know a lot about the market. I was just getting into it,
Right.
right? So yeah.
So are you making that push towards YouTube and
Yes,
so forth? So
exactly.
we're going to be
YouTube and
seeing.
newsletter. YouTube and newsletter is what we are trying to heavily focus on at this point.
Okay, that's going to be the focus for the
Correct.
next 6 months for
Correct.
you guys.
But also, what the issue that we are facing right now is that because of the whole algorithm, because of the whole growth, we are stuck in that loop. That if we don't focus on Instagram, then the work that we have done in the past 2 years all goes to shit.
All goes through. Yeah, yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense. So, I wanted to understand one thing about this revenue aspect is, when I went on to your Instagram page, Barely Opinionated, I saw there's this link which said, come and support us,
Hmm.
where you're asking the community to
Yes.
support. And I was very, intrigued by it. Abroad, you have a lot of platforms like Patreon is there, you
Yes.
have Buy Me a Coffee. Does that work in the Indian context?
Honestly, when we were trying to start that, we were trying to look for such a platform,
Right.
but I literally couldn't find even a single good platform that I could
Okay.
use or a
Okay.
reliable platform that I use.
Okay.
So right now we're using Razorpay to do
Right.
it.
Right.
Right. The whole idea of starting that support us page was because we are creating so much free content, so much free knowledge that we're giving out. Our core audience at this point are UPSC aspirants, law aspirants,
Okay.
people that want to get into public services,
Right.
right?
Right.
And all of them are coming to our page. They are learning all the things that they need to prepare for,
Okay.
right?
Awesome.
And every day we are getting so many messages, so many comments saying that we found this really helpful. Thank you so much. We want to be a part of your
Has that
community.
converted into real cash?
Yes,
It has.
it has. It definitely has. That's where the support us page comes into the picture, right?
Right.
That's why we started it, because there are so many people that are like, we want to help you.
You have any ballpark figure up and down as to what is the percentage of people who ended up contributing out here amongst
I
your
mean,
user
very
base?
low,
Very
very
low?
very low.
Point percentage, something like that?
Yeah, point something, right?
All right.
Again, it's not something that we are heavily pushing either.
Right. But what is the average amount that you've kind of gotten out here in terms of the
I mean,
support?
per person is giving around 750,000 if I had to average it out.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Because Milap, the crowdfunding
Right.
platform in India, right? They mentioned somewhere, if I'm not wrong, they said that average donation is 2,500 rupees in India.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
when a person pays out for
Right.
a particular medical campaign. I'm
Right,
not
right.
talking about any other
Again,
campaign.
that's what, right? Those are fueled by emotion. Those are fueled
Right,
by
right, right,
an urgency.
right. That's
Ours is
right.
not fueled by urgency or emotion.
Exactly, exactly. But still, it's a great number. 750 to 1,000 bucks is a
Yeah,
great number if you look at it,
yeah.
right? Because I've always wondered, there's so many content creators out there,
Hmm.
where content, they don't want to lock it behind
Correct.
a paywall.
Hmm.
And, is the Indian audience ready or have
Correct.
they warmed up enough that, we're going to pay for it? And you're saying that they are,
No, no, no,
I'm
no, no, no. I'm not saying.
very little.
They are. You cannot in India have subscription based model for your content, because Indians will not pay.
How's that? You know what? I work at
Huh.
Pratilipi and we, of course, see a lot of different trends. I'm not
Yes.
going to be discussing that.
Right.
It's more about barely
Yeah,
opinionated
yeah,
out
yeah,
here.
yeah.
But cool, go ahead. At the end
No,
of the day, it's
so
your experience. What
exactly.
do you?
So
Right.
Pratilipi has put itself in a position where they're able to do that, right?
Okay.
Like again, you look at the big players as well, right? Hotstar, Prime,
Right.
Netflix. All of them are also at that. I would say compare, like Pratilipi is also at that level of Amazon, Hotstar, Prime. They have been able to position themselves over the years where people are ready to pay for that content,
Right.
right?
Right.
But when it
Especially
comes to
machines.
a brand like Barely Opinionated, which is starting out now, which doesn't have that big of a brand presence as, say, Pratilipi.
So you're saying 5 years down the line, barely opinionated will start getting a lot of
Yes,
subscription revenues,
exactly,
right? So
exactly.
you need to stay in for
You
a
need
longer
to
period
stay
of
in for
time.
a long time. You need to build that trust. You need to build that presence.
All
Only
right.
then.
Then people will start
Yeah,
paying up.
you can't go at a low stage. In US, if you see, a lot of decent content creators are itself getting into paid subscription models, and it's working very well for them.
All
And
right.
I don't think that's the case in India.
Right, definitely. Nascent, content
Correct.
creation out here, it's very difficult to get, paid subscriptions.
Correct.
So that's the reason why I thought, will this tipping model work?
Yes.
And you're saying it's working to a certain
Little
extent.
bit, not much.
But that's so you know what? I'm going to end this with a question on your audience,
Hmm.
right? Uh, you've said Instagram is more about dance these days
Correct.
and everything like that, right? And I'll tell you this interesting conversation that I had with the, I don't know if he's still there, and I don't even remember his name. He was the head of the Indian Express digital department,
Okay.
right? They'd come out with something called in UT or something like that.
Okay.
I don't know how to pronounce it,
Okay.
but they were very this thing viral on Facebook,
Okay.
right? And I've had this thing where, I read a lot of books. So the idea was, why not, do the same thing what you're doing right now? And
Right.
this is about 5, 6 years back.
Right.
I used to create content
Mhm.
and knowledgeable content.
Right. Right.
That's the
Right.
difference out here. And when I reached out to him and, somebody had introduced me and him, and he said, what the Indian audience wants is ki which color jeans is Shah Rukh Khan wearing? And
Yeah.
6 years fast forward, it's probably which top is Ananya Pandey wearing, or where is she partying, or where is Sara
Yes,
Ali
yes,
Khan
yes,
partying, right?
yes.
So these are nobody wants to know about knowledge stuff,
Correct.
right? So I'm assuming this is a very, I'm not assuming, I know it's
Hmm.
been, I could never, in fact, I just have to close it as quickly as possible,
Right.
right? For you, you've survived in this,
Yes.
right? Can you just explain how the TG has been? Because it's very difficult to, uh, impart knowledge on
Hmm.
these platforms,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
And to build up a community around this knowledge wala thing.
Hmm.
So, any light you want to shed on this? How you feel about your TG?
I'm really, really proud of the TG we have,
Right,
because I've realized that we have a lot of people, even in the team, right? Because I
right,
told you, people that are part of our team are the ones that are reaching out to us through our page,
right,
right?
right, right, right.
So most of them that are part of our team are all UPSC aspirants. They are
Okay.
preparing for UPSC.
So I'm assuming that you get a lot of deals from edtech companies
Tech
reaching out to
companies,
you,
fintech
right?
companies is our
And is it like, of course, even on YouTube, right? Depending on the product and depending on what your content is, the advertising rates keep on going up and
correct,
down, right?
correct.
So is it like that with you as well out here? Like,
Yes. So we have our standard charges, which I have been able to sort of come up with based on the understanding of the market, based on the understanding of what value is
do you
being
mind
pushed.
sharing what is it to get in? If I have to do a deal with Barely Opinionated,
Hmm.
the bare minimum deal of 3 posts, how much are you going to charge me?
At this point, per reel, we are charging about 30,000.
Okay.
Per carousel, we are charging about 17 to 20,000. And per video story, it's like a 45-second video story. We
Yeah.
charge about 6-7,000.
6, 7,000, and all these are part of the deal that one can just club or
Correct, correct. And
mix
when
and
there are
match.
bulk deals, we obviously have negotiations and
Okay,
discounts.
awesome. So I'm assuming that, like we discussed,
Hmm.
the edtech companies are
Hmm.
coming out to you a lot. Any, you've already given a very important advice to the creators out here, saying that, rather than Instagram,
Right.
why not focus on YouTube
YouTube.
going forward,
Yes.
right? Uh, I think, anything else you would like to add for the viewers as an end note out here, for the up and coming content creators and for the up and coming media businesses, is there anything that you want to share from your
I have
experience?
a lot to share, but one thing that I would definitely want to tell them is that before you actually get into content creation, please understand what sort of audience you want,
All right.
right? If, say, for example, whatever sort of content you're creating, as long as you are aware of the audience that you want, that is the first thing that you need to do before you actually jump into content creation. Otherwise, there, as you start creating content, and then you will realize that okay, the audience that I was expecting is not the audience that I'm getting,
Okay.
right?
Did that happen with you?
In the beginning, I never thought that we'll have UPSC aspirants, right?
Right.
I just thought that we'll have a general crowd of people that would really want, like, it's just for awareness purposes.
But then you know what? Somebody needs to start putting out their
Yeah,
content, and then
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I agree. Like, they, you will learn as you progress
But as quickly as possible.
as quickly as possible. But in the beginning, have some idea, right?
Okay. Okay.
Depending on that, again, depending on the sort of audience you want, or depending on what you really want to do in the future, depending on that, you need to choose the platform, right?
All right.
Say, for example, if you want to get in, okay, let's take education content, for example, right? If you want to put out education content, that's why I'm saying Instagram is not the best platform for education
Of course.
content.
Now it's been more YouTube and
YouTube, right?
Twitter.
Now, Instagram can come into picture. Instagram is a good distribution side of it, although YouTube is also brilliant.
I mean, it's distribution at the end of the day. Yeah.
But Instagram can give like quicker distribution,
Okay.
right?
Quick results in
Quick
terms of more and
results in
more
terms
people
of,
coming
yeah,
on.
yeah, yeah. So,
Right.
for example, you're putting out a YouTube video, you can cut it into shorts and snippets and then put it out on Instagram,
Right. Right.
right? That way it can be helpful.
Right.
But for content creators, I would highly say that, understand the audience and then sort of figure out what sort of content you want to create, and then the platform.
Okay. Great, great. I think that's it's been a great conversation, Rohit, and it's really good to know what all and how you've worked this out.
Right.
So thanks a lot for coming down, and wishing you all the luck for Barely Opinionated and the fact that you're getting into so many verticals.
Thank you so much, Jugal, for having this. It was a brilliant conversation. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.